In the last few days, we continuously heard the term AQI. Even the continuous rising of the AQI levels in the major Indian cities are discussed in the parliament. We saw people shouting AQI, AQI towards the CM of Delhi during Messi's India tour. We can see that it's really tough to see through in the winters, and most of us unknowingly call it fog. It's becoming tough even to breathe, and whatever we are breathing is slowly poisoning our lungs. We can see all our celebrities are leaving our country, and we, the common people, are suffering every day as our health is the least priority to the people in authority, and sometimes it's even business to them. In this video, let's discuss everything from pollution to climate to the basic facilities in our country. And by the end of this video, you will very clearly understand why our celebrities or anyone who has the opportunity is leaving the country. First, let us understand what is AQI. AQI stands for Air Quality Index. It's simply a number that measures how safe or dangerous the air is to breathe. It measures particles like PM 2.5, PM 10, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, ozone, etc. Among this, PM 2.5 is the most dangerous. These particles are so tiny that it goes deep into your lungs. It enters your bloodstream and it slowly damages your lungs, heart, and brain. Cities like Delhi, Kolkata, Ghaziabad, Noida, Patna, they record AQI levels which are 5 to 10 times higher than the safe limit set by WHO. This is not a one-time crisis. It happens every single year. And when something repeats every year, it's not an accident, it's a pattern. Now let us understand why the AQ levels are so high. There are several reasons, from vehicle emission to construction dust to waste burning, crop residue burning, coal-based power plants. But among them, the most important is the industries. We can see the data is that industries are the major contributors of PM 2.5. According to a recent study by CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board, we can see that in the Indo-Gangetic Plain, one of the most polluted region, the industrial sector alone accounts to about 48.5% of the total particulate emissions. Another study conducted by the EGU sphere also shows the same. It shows that the industries are the major contributor of PM 2.5. If the damage is so clear, if the data are available, why does strong action really happen? The answer is not simple corruption stories. It's more structural than that. First, short-term economic thinking. Industries bring GDP numbers, taxes, exports and jobs. Strict pollution control increases cost and slows short-term growth. So government often chooses economic performance today over public health tomorrow. Second, fear of job losses. Shutting down polluting units can lead to protests and unemployment. Politically, delay feels safer than taking action. Third, revenue dependence. The same government that regulates industries also earns money from them through corporate taxes, GSTs, and electricity bills. That creates a clear conflict of interest. And finally, delayed consequences. Pollution doesn't affect election results immediately. The health impact shows up years later. So often, pollution becomes a hidden tax that citizens pay quietly. Let's deep dive into water pollution and food chain now. We have seen how much the air is polluted. The damage doesn't stop in the air. Untreated industrial waste flows into rivers, lakes, and groundwater. Over time, heavy metals and chemicals enter our food chain, our vegetables, grains, fish, and milk. This is not instant poisoning. This is slow, long-term exposure, and that makes it even more dangerous. The following video shows how the chemicals are exposed in the rivers and how the government is trying to hide the fact from us.
The river Yamuna actually having a lot of froth floating on its surface. And this is not for the first time. We've actually seen it several times. In fact, throughout the year, there's froth in the river. And it's an absolute travesty of environmental governance in Delhi. There are many causes, and the causes of that pollution is actually known because there are sources, there are industrial sewage that is actually dumped into the river without treatment. There's a lot of municipal waste, almost 3,500 million liters of waste that is actually dumped into the river every day.
We discussed about the air we breathe, the water bodies, which directly impacts the food we eat or drink. Let's discuss more about the food we eat. Many global food companies sell the same brand in different companies with different standards. In countries like the US and the UK, food regulations are stricter, sugar limits are tighter, additives are more controlled. In India, because enforcement is weaker and cost pressure is high, the same brand often use more sugar, cheaper oils like the palm oil, and different additives. Consumers have noticed this difference in products like Maggi, Nutella, Oreo, Snickers, and Bonvita. At the same time, food meant for export has to meet much stricter and international standards. So the best quality produce often goes abroad, while Indian consumers get products made of lower regulatory bars. India can produce world-class food, but not all of it is meant for Indians. Now let's discuss about the government hospitals, the other side of the crisis. Here's the irony. Pollution increases disease, so people rush into hospitals. But our public healthcare system is already under pressure. A government survey under the National Health Mission found that nearly 80% of the public health facilities do not even meet the basic quality standards. India has roughly half a government hospital bed per 1,000 people. That leads to overcrowded wards, patient waiting for hours, and treatment happening in corridors. There's also severe shortage of doctors, nurses, and technicians. Anyone who has visited the government hospital already knows the condition there. If you have the privilege, you would never want your near ones to be treated in government hospitals. We focus on building hospitals, but there is hardly any infrastructure. What about education? Our education system teaches us how to score marks and clear exams, but it rarely teaches us about environmental responsibility, about public health awareness, about civic accountability. Anybody who has a little bit sense knows that we have an education system built during the Industrial Revolution, and that is just mass producing robots. Civic sense has become a joke now. No one even expects Indian to be civic anymore in Indian cities. But the same individual, when visits abroad, learns how to obey rules. So we learn how to adjust, not how to demand better. Now let us connect the dots. Bad air, polluted water, unsafe food, overcrowded hospitals. These are not separate problems. These are outcomes of the same choices that we make. Now you understand the easy and the convenient ways to leave the country, right? Here's something to think about. These are not just the fault of the people in authority. People here forgot to ask the right questions, and our media is the reflection of that. People here forgot to raise their voices and learn to adjust quickly. People here forgot to demand the right thing. People here forgot to be empathetic towards others and learn to be selfish, and that reflects in our poor civic sense. We hardly think before spitting or throwing away some waste in the roads. We are hardly empathetic to the people who cleans the roads or drains or public toilets. We only think about our own convenience. A nation where people do not have the spine to ask the right question and the heart to be empathetic towards others will certainly advance towards its downfall.